Namaste. Welcome to Samskriti. We are in the 8th Sarga of Kishkinda Kandam in the Adhyatma Ramayana series. All the monkeys were thrilled with wonder on hearing the words of Sampati, and curious to know more about him, they asked him, "O great one, tell us all about your story from the beginning." Sampati then narrated the past incidents of his life thus. Myself and my brother Jatayu, being very proud of our strength in our youth, wanted to measure it by flying up to the region of the sun. We flew several thousand yojanas up when Jatayu felt unable to bear the heat of the sun. In order to protect him, I sheltered him under my wings on account of my love for him. When I was thus protecting him, my wings were burnt by the heat of the sun, and from that great height I fell on top of the Vindhya mountain, losing consciousness. 3 days later, I recovered consciousness, but I was completely disoriented and couldn't recognize the countryside or the mountain peaks. Gradually, when I opened my eyes and looked around, I saw an auspicious and lovely ashram nearby. I slowly limped to that ashrama. There lived a sage by name Chandrama. When he saw me, he was surprised and asked me, "O Sampati, what is this? Who has deformed you? I know you since long. You are very strong and robust. How is it then that both your wings have been burnt? Please tell me all about it, if you think it proper." Then I told him the whole of my story, and with a heart full of remorse asked that great sage, "O Holy One, my whole body is burning as if I have fallen into a forest fire. How can I survive now without my wings?" Hearing my lamentation, the sage felt very compassionate and told me, casting a very kindly look, "O son, listen to me. After that, do as you please. The cause of all sorrows is the body, and the body is born of one's own past karmas. Because man thinks of his body as himself, karma becomes operative. This I sense, which binds one to the body, is eternal and is a result of ignorance. In itself, it is inert without consciousness, but being in association with the reflection of pure consciousness, it appears conscious, just as a red hot piece of iron appears hot and shining in association with fire. Because the body is in identification with this I sense, the body too appears to be endowed with consciousness. Dominated by the I sense, the Atman thinks of himself as the body and becomes subject to the cycle of births and deaths and to the consequent experience of happiness and misery. The Atman in itself is changeless, but because of this false identification, the Jiva thinks that I am the body and the doer of all deeds. Thus, the embodied being becomes the performer of many actions and is helplessly bound by their consequences. He finds himself fettered and wanders hither and thither in this transmigratory cycle as a victim of sinful and meritorious actions. He begins to feel reassured that he has done many meritorious acts like sacrifices and charities, and hence he shall surely go to heaven and enjoy the heavenly comforts. By these, he does enjoy these heavenly pleasures for a long time, and then, when the effect of these meritorious deeds has dwindled, the same power of karma sends him down, however much he may dislike it. The descending jiva reaches the sphere of the moon, and from there, united with a drop of water, comes down to earth, and falling on cereals such as rice or paddy, gets identified with them in the form of an insect. After remaining in that condition for long, he becomes any of the 4 types of food, and in that condition is eaten by man. In the human body, he is reduced to the seed, which, being deposited in the womb of a woman and becoming united with the blood therein, becomes solidified within a day into an embryo surrounded by a thin tissue. Within 5 nights, the fetus develops into a foam like substance and within 7 nights into a muscular tissue. Within 15 days, blood fills that muscular ball, and after 25 nights, a small shoot develops from it. In 1 month, the neck, head, shoulders, backbone, and abdomen will be formed one after another. Then, in the second month, the arms, legs, ribs, waist, and knees develop one by one. There is no deviation in this sequence. In the third month, all the joints of organs are formed, and thereafter, in 4 months, all the fingers emerge. At the beginning of the 5th month, nose, ears, eyes, teeth, nails, and the internal organs develop. In the 6th month, the orifice of the ears, anus, sex organ, and navel are formed. During the 7th month, body hairs and hairs of the head emerge, while in the 8th month, all the organs are formed and are distinctly visible. O bird, this is how the fetus develops in the womb of a woman. During the 5th month itself, signs of life are seen in the fetus. That is, it gains consciousness. Through the small orifice in the umbilical cord, the fetus draws nourishment from the essence of the food consumed by the mother. It is by the power of its own karma that it develops without perishing. The fetus now gets the memory of all its previous lives and the deeds done during those births. With that memory and suffering from the heat of the womb, the fetus thinks, born in innumerable wombs, I had associations with many wives and children, relatives and possessions. Preoccupied with the maintenance of the family, I managed to earn money in righteous and unrighteous ways. But, unfortunate that I am, I never thought of Lord Vishnu even in my dreams. As a consequence, I am now undergoing tortures in the womb, and once again I mistakenly regard this perishable body as being permanent. I have done things that were not worthy of being done and never did anything beneficial for the Atman. I don't know when I shall get out of this hell-like womb, and when I do, I shall hereafter engage myself in complete adoration of Mahavishnu. Worrying and lamenting and tormented in this manner, that creature takes birth amidst great misery and difficulty. Just as a sinner emerges from hell, he comes out looking like a worm falling out of a festering wound. Thereafter, he undergoes all the sufferings of infancy. O vulture, I am not going to describe them or the sufferings of youth and other periods of life, as they are all well known to you and all other creatures. Thus, as a result of identifying oneself with the body, the jiva undergoes the sufferings of hell and life in the womb. Therefore, abandoning the sense of identification with the subtle and gross bodies, one should recognize oneself as the self, transcending Prakriti. Forsaking the attachments associated with this body, that is the feeling that I am the body, he should know himself as the Atman. He should know himself as the self, who is not involved in the state of waking, dream, and sleep, who is distinguished as truth and consciousness, who is pure, wakeful, and peaceful. When the Atman, who is of the nature of truth and consciousness, is realized and the infatuation caused by ignorance erased, it is immaterial whether the body dies or continues to live as a consequence of the operative karma or prarabdha karma. A man of realization will not identify himself with the body, and he has as a consequence neither enjoyments nor sufferings afterwards. Therefore, until your operative karma is exhausted and the body perishes, you live in the body without identification with it, just as a snake carries on its external sheath of skin until the time for it to separate comes. O vulture, I shall tell you another thing which will contribute to your supreme good and welfare. The eternal Lord Narayana will incarnate in the Treta Yuga as the son of Dasharatha and would come to Dandakaranya along with his wife Sita and brother Lakshmana for the destruction of Ravana. There, Ravana would steal away Sita like a thief and take her to Lanka when the two brothers would have gone out into the forest. Directed by Sugriva, a host of monkeys will come up to the seashore in search of Sita, and you will have a chance to come in contact with them. You inform them about the true location of Sita. When you do that, you will be blessed with new wings. Sampati continued, "This is how the exalted sage Chandrama consoled and reassured me and also communicated all this to me. Now, you see how my soft new wings have emerged. I wish to go now. May you all succeed and prosper in your mission. You will certainly be able to find out the whereabouts of Sita. Just endeavor to cross this unleapable ocean. By remembering his name, even the evil men are able to cross the ocean of samsara and attain the eternal status of Mahavishnu. You, monkeys, are fortunate and dear devotees of the same Sri Rama, who is the protector of all the three worlds. Then, what difficulty can this terrestrial ocean pose to you?" With this sarga ends. Let's get on with the chanting now. अध्यात्मरामायणे किष्किन्धाकाण्डे अष्टमः सर्गः। अथ ते कौतुकाविष्टाः सम्पातिं सर्ववानराः पप्रच्छुर्भगवन् ब्रूहि स्वमुदन्तं त्वमादितः। सम्पातिः कथयामास स्ववृत्तान्तं पुराकृतम्। अहं पुरा जटायुश्च भ्रातरौ रूढयौवनौ बलेन दर्पिता वावां बलजिज्ञासया खगौ सूर्यमण्डलपर्यन्तं गन्तुम् उत्पतितौ मदात्। बहुयोजनसाहस्रं गतौ तत्र प्रतापितः जटायुस्तं परित्रातुं पक्षैराच्छाद्यमोहतः। स्थितोऽहं रश्मिभिर्दग्धपक्षोऽस्मिन् विन्ध्यमूर्धनि पतितो दूरपतनान् मूर्छितोऽहं कपीश्वराः। दिनत्रयात् पुनः प्राणसहितो दग्धपक्षकः देशं वा गिरिकूटान् वा न जाने भ्रान्तमानसः। शनैरुन्मील्य नयने दृष्ट्वा तत्राश्रमं शुभं शनैः शनैराश्रमस्य समीपं गतवानहं। चन्द्रमा नाम मुनिराड् दृष्ट्वा मां विस्मितो वदत्, सम्पाते किमिदं तेद्य विरूपं केन वा कृतं। जानामि त्वामहं पूर्वमत्यन्तं बलवानसि, दग्धौ किमर्थं ते पक्षौ कथ्यतां यदि मन्यसे। ततः स्वचेष्टितं सर्वं कथयित्वाति दुःखितः अब्रवं मुनिशार्दूल, दह्येऽहं दाववह्निना कथं दारयितुं शक्तो विपक्षो जीवितं प्रभो। इत्युक्तोऽथ मुनिर्वीक्ष्य मां दयार्द्रविलोचनः, शृणुवत्स वचो मेद्य श्रुत्वा कुरु यथेप्सितं। देहमूलमिदं दुःखं देहः कर्म समुद्भवः, कर्म प्रवर्तते देहेऽहं बुद्ध्या पुरुषस्य हि। अहङ्कारस्त्वनादिः स्यादविद्यासम्भवो जडः। छिच्छायया सदा युक्तस्तप्ता यः पिण्डवत् सदा, तेन देहस्य तादात्म्यात् देहश्चेतनवान् भवेत्। देहोऽहमिति बुद्धिः स्यादात्मनोऽहङ्कृतेर्बलात्, तन्मूल एष संसारः सुखदुःखादिसाधकः। आत्मनो निर्विकारस्य मिथ्या तादात्म्यतः सदा, देहोऽहं कर्मकर्ताहम् इति सङ्कल्प्य सर्वदा। जीवः करोति कर्माणि तत्फलैर्बध्यते वशः, ऊर्ध्वादो भ्रमते नित्यं पापपुण्यात्मकः स्वयं। कृतं मयाधिकं पुण्यं यज्ञदानादिनिश्चितं, स्वर्गं गत्वा सुखं भोक्ष्य इति सङ्कल्पवान् भवेत्। तथैवाध्यासतस्तत्र चिरं भुक्त्वा सुखं महत्। क्षीणपुण्यः पतत्यर्वागनिच्छन् कर्म चोदितः। पतित्वा मण्डले चेन्दोस्ततो निहारसंयुतः। भूमौ पतित्वा व्रीह्यादौ तत्र स्थित्वा चिरं पुनः। भूत्वा चतुर्विधं भोज्यं पुरुषैर्भुज्यते ततः। रेतो भूत्वा पुनस्तेन ऋतौ स्त्रीयोनिसिञ्चितः। योनिरक्तेन संयुक्तं जरायुपरिवेष्टितं। दिनेनैकेन कललं भूत्वा रूढत्वमाप्नुयात्। तत्पुनः पञ्चरात्रेण बुद्बुदाकारतामियात्। सप्तरात्रेण तदपि मांसपेशित्वमाप्नुयात्। पक्षमात्रेण सा पेशी रुधिरेण परिप्लुता। तस्या एवाङ्कुरोत्पत्तिः पञ्चविंशतिरात्रिषु। ग्रीवाशिरश्च स्कन्धश्च पृष्ठवंशस्तथोदरम्। पञ्चधाङ्गानि चैकैकं जायन्ते मासतः क्रमात्। पाणिपादौ तथा पार्श्वः कटिर्जानु तथैव च। मासद्वयात् प्रजायन्ते क्रमेणैव न चान्यथा। त्रिभिर्मासैः प्रजायन्ते अङ्गानां सन्धयः क्रमात्। सर्वाङ्गुल्यः प्रजायन्ते क्रमान्मासचतुष्टये। नासाकर्णौ च नेत्रे च जायन्ते पञ्चमासतः। दन्तपङ्क्तिर्नखागुह्यं पञ्चमे जायते तथा। अर्वाक्षण्मासतच्छिद्रं कर्णयोर्भवति स्फुटम्। पायुर्मेढ्रमुपस्थं च नाभिश्चापि भवेन्नृणाम्। सप्तमे मासि रोमाणि शिरः केशास्तथैव च। विभक्तावयवत्वं च सर्वं सम्पद्यतेष्टमे। जठरे वर्धते गर्भः स्त्रिया एवं विहङ्गम। पञ्चमे मासि चैतन्यं जीवः प्राप्नोति सर्वशः। नाभिसूत्राल्परन्ध्रेण मातृभुक्तान्नसारतः। वर्धते गर्भतः पिण्डो न म्रियेत स्वकर्मतः। स्मृत्वा सर्वाणि जन्मानि पूर्वकर्माणि सर्वशः। जठरानलतप्तोऽयमिदं वचनमब्रवीत्। नानायोनिसहस्रेषु जायमानोऽनुभूतवान्। पुत्रदारादिसम्बन्धं कोटिशः पशुबान्धवान्। कुटुम्बभरणासक्त्या न्यायान्यायैर्धनार्जनं। कृतं नाकरवं विष्णुचिन्तां स्वप्नेऽपि दुर्भगः। इदानीं तत्फलं भुञ्जे गर्भदुःखं महत्तरम्। अशाश्वते शाश्वतवद्देहे तृष्णा समन्वितः। अकार्याण्येव कृतवान् न कृतं हितमात्मनः। इत्येवं बहुधा दुःखम् अनुभूय स्वकर्मतः। कदा निष्क्रमणं मे स्यात् गर्भान्निरयसन्निभात्। इत ऊर्ध्वं नित्यमहं विष्णुमेवानुपूजये। इत्यादि चिन्तयन् जीवो योनियन्त्रप्रपीडितः। जायमानोति दुःखेन नरकात् पातकी यथा। पूतिव्रणान्निपतितः कृमिरेषैवापरः। ततो बाल्यादिदुःखानि सर्व एवं विभुञ्जते। त्वया चैवानुभूतानि सर्वत्र विदितानि च। न वर्णितानि मे गृध्र यौवनादिषु सर्वतः। एवं देहोऽहमित्यस्मात् अभ्यासान्निरयादिकम्। गर्भवासादिदुःखानि भवन्त्यभिनिवेशतः तस्माद्देहद्वयादन्यम् आत्मानं प्रकृतेः परं ज्ञात्वा देहादिममतां त्यक्त्वात्मज्ञानवान् भवेत्। जाग्रदादिविनिर्मुक्तं सत्यज्ञानादिलक्षणं शुद्धं बुद्धं सदा शान्तम् आत्मानम् अवधारयेत्। चिदात्मनि परिज्ञाते नष्टे मोहे ज्ञसम्भवे देहः पततु वारब्धकर्मवेगेन तिष्ठतु। योगिनो न हि दुःखं वा सुखं वा ज्ञानसम्भवं तस्माद्देहेन सहितो यावत् प्रारब्धसंक्षयः तावत्तिष्ठ सुखेन त्वं धृतकञ्चुकसर्पवत्। अन्यद्वक्ष्यामि ते पक्षिन् शृणु मे परमं हितं। त्रेतायुगे दाशरथिर्भूत्वा नारायणो व्ययः रावणस्य वधार्थाय दण्डकानागमिष्यति। सीतया भार्यया सार्धं लक्ष्मणेन समन्वितः तत्राश्रमे जनकजां भ्रातृभ्यां रहिते वने रावणश्चोरवन्नीत्वा लङ्कायां स्थापयिष्यति। तस्याः सुग्रीवनिर्देशाद्वानराः परिमार्गणे आगमिष्यन्ति जलधेस्तीरं तत्र समागमः त्वया तैः कारणवशात् भविष्यति न संशयः। तदा सीतास्थितिं तेभ्यः कथयस्व यथार्थतः। तदैव तव पक्षौ द्वावुत्पत्स्येते पुनर्नवौ। सम्पातिरुवाच बोधयामास मां चन्द्रनामा मुनिकुलेश्वरः। पश्यन्तु पक्षौ मे जातौ नूतनावति कोमलौ। स्वस्ति वोस्तु गमिष्यामि सीतां द्रक्ष्यथ निश्चयम्। यत्नं कुरुध्वं दुर्लङ्घ्य समुद्रस्य विलङ्घने। यन्नाम स्मृतिमात्रतोपरिमितं संसारवारां निधिं तीर्त्वा गच्छति दुर्जनोऽपि परमं विष्णोः पदं शाश्वतम्। तस्यैव स्थितिकारिणस्त्रिजगतां रामस्य भक्ताः प्रिया। यूयं किं न समुद्रमात्रतरणे शक्ताः कथं वानराः। इति श्रीमध्यात्मरामायणे उमामहेश्वरसंवादे किष्किन्धाकाण्डे 8मः सर्गः।